As James Mago Gately sat in his car at a Topaz petrol station on Coolock Road, a black Lexus, with windows tinted to secrecy, silently pulled up next to him. This particular vehicle had a curious history. It had once belonged to the Pakistani embassy, and it changed hands for a mere €3,700. Unbeknownst to Gately, he had been trailed by this very car since the previous day. In a sudden eruption of violence, the driver of the Lexus emerged and swiftly approached Gately's car. Without hesitation, he fired 5 shots. CCTV footage captured the chilling spectacle, gun smoke swirling in the air as Gately staggered out of his car, collapsing onto the pavement. The hitman then swiftly fled the scene, heading off to meet his associate in Dromiskin, County Louth. With his help, he set the Lexus ablaze. Meanwhile, just seconds after being shot, Dad to Gately told the cops to get him a fucking ambulance as he lay on the filling station's forecourt. Against all odds, he survived the attack. Knowing mob boss Daniel Kinahan wanted him dead, Gately had the foresight to wear a bulletproof vest, which intercepted 4 of the shots. A 5th struck Gately in the jaw. The shooting was carried out on the orders of the Kinahan Cartel, who pinned blame on Gately for his alleged involvement in the Regency Hotel murder, despite the absence of formal charges against him for the crime. At the time of the attempted hit on Gately, which took place in May 2017, 25-year-old Caolan Smyth was relatively unknown to Gardaí. He'd only registered on their radar for minor transgressions, like the foolish act of being arrested while siphoning diesel, intending to use it in his petrol car. However, as Smith's role in the failed assassination of Gately came to light, it became apparent that he was a significant figure, strategically used by the Kinahan Cartel in their ongoing war against the Hutch faction. Caolan Smyth got involved in 2 of the most dangerous gang conflicts in Dublin. He was among the new criminals emerging as the police started to crack down on the Kinahan Cartel. Following the turbulent period of the Kinahan-Hutch feud in 2016, many members of the cartel in Ireland had either ended up behind bars or fled the country. With vacancies emerging within the cartel's Dublin operations, fresh faces like Smith were swiftly promoted up the ranks. However, despite Smith's rise as a seasoned gunman and his involvement in numerous shootings, he wasn't the ideal choice when the Kinahan Cartel targeted Hutch associate James Mago Gately for assassination in 2017. The attempted hit marked the second time in just over a month that the Kinahan Cartel had made a concerted effort to eliminate Gately. They initially selected Estonian hitman Imre Arakas to carry out the murder. He was flown from Spain to Dublin on April 3, 2017, but was arrested by Gardaí before he could fulfill his mission. Gately, who was once trained in boxing by Daniel Kinahan in Spain, had been living in Northern Ireland due to the €500,000 bounty on his head. Arakas was later sentenced to 6 years in prison, with authorities suspecting direct communication between him and Kinahan regarding the assassination plot. Following Arakas' arrest, Smith took over in the hunt for Gately on behalf of the cartel, now on their payroll. He established a base at Piers House in Dublin city centre, taking precautions such as installing bulletproof windows due to fears of retaliation from rival factions. Smith's presence in the area initially caught the attention of Gardaí, mainly due to the flashy jeeps he drove. Additionally, there were suspicions that he was using his time there to recruit young individuals for involvement in gang conflicts, particularly in the Sheriff Street area. Smith was trying to flex his muscles in the city centre by openly affiliating himself with the Kinahan Cartel. As the Garda investigation intensified into the Gately hit, Smith's involvement in criminal activities expanded. Alongside his role in a drug gang in Coolock, North Dublin, he also served as muscle for one of the warring factions in Drogheda. Smith maintained close ties with several notorious figures, including North Dublin mobster Mr. Flashy, his associate Mohammed Smoo, currently incarcerated for involvement in the Kinahan plot to kill Patsy Hutch, and gangland enforcer Scott Kappa. In May 2019, one of the Coolock members, 22-year-old Sean Little, was gunned down off the M1 in North County Dublin. Little was lured to a meeting on an isolated roadway in Balbriggan before being fatally shot, his lifeless body discovered beside a burning car. His death escalated tensions, plunging Coolock into a state of warfare and resulting in a series of killings throughout 2019, claiming the lives of 5 men associated with the Coolock gang. Despite being Little's friend, the finger of blame soon pointed to Smith, although he attended the scene of the crime in Walshestown alongside the victim's grieving father and Hamid Sanambar, an Iranian who had previously worked as Little's driver. Days after Little was gunned down, Sanambar was shot dead as he went to the family home to pay his respects. Officers suspect he was wrongly blamed for setting up the young drug dealer. Accused of involvement in Little's death, Smyth found himself in a perilous situation as former allies turned against him. In a curious move, he flew to the UK for a lie detector test to assert his innocence, sharing the results on social media. However, associates of Little remained steadfast in their belief that Smyth had betrayed his friend over a €200,000 debt owed to the Kinahan Cartel, and they were not the only ones. Also, Sean's grieving father, Stephen Little, kept blaming Smyth for the brutal killing and plotted to take Smyth's life in retaliation. However, detectives from the elite drugs and organised crime unit intervened just in time. Stephen Little was arrested with a gram-powered G9 semi-automatic pistol and later received a 6-year prison sentence. He openly admitted to possessing the firearm to kill Smyth, expressing regret that he hadn't been given more time to execute his revenge. Despite the intense scrutiny, Smyth has never been arrested or charged in connection to Sean Little's murder. Following the attempt on his life, Smyth continued to play a significant role in the ongoing Coolock feud. As a trusted associate of the Finglas-based drug dealer Mr. Flashy, he found himself deeply entangled in the tumultuous events unfolding in the Finglas and Coolock areas in 2019. Nevertheless, in addition to his involvement in the feud, Smyth was enlisted by the Kinahan Cartel to carry out the hit on Gately. Despite entering a not guilty plea, the Special Criminal Court found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in February 2021. They determined that Smyth had served as both the driver and the gunman during the attack, branding him a ruthless and dangerous criminal. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison, although he arrogantly boasted that he would be released just after 5 World Cups. His co-accused Gary McAreevy received a 4-year sentence, with the final year suspended for his role in burning the getaway car. Both Smyth and McAreevy are currently appealing their convictions, claiming that certain evidence derived from phone data was unlawfully obtained, rendering it inadmissible in their trial. This mobile phone data was retained and accessed under a 2011 Irish law, which has also been challenged by Graham Dwyer, who was convicted in 2015 for the murder of childcare worker Elaine O'Hara. After this conviction, Smyth appeared to struggle with adapting to prison life. He expressed concerns to the governor of Dublin's Mountjoy prison about being kept in isolation for his own safety. Subsequently, Smyth was transferred to Cork prison at one point. However, due to fears that he was gaining too much influence over the inmates there, he was later relocated to Portlaoise prison. However, in Portlaoise, Smyth continued his attempts to assert dominance, leading to clashes with another prominent Kinahan figure, Freddie Thompson. Following this power struggle, both Thompson and Smyth were moved to separate prisons to prevent further conflict, with Smyth returning to Cork. Since his return, Smyth has been housed in the general population in the prison's A wing, but he remains assessed as being at high risk of attack by other prisoners across the Republic's jails. That was it for today's video. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see our next videos.